Special thanks to Patreon supporter Derek Frost Westbrook for making this video possible. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Scared204 here bringing you another Minecraft World War 1 BAFTA build tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be going ahead and building the Bogatyr-Class of cruisers. The Bogatyr-Class were a group of protected cruisers built for the Imperial Russian Navy. Unusually for the Russian Navy, 2 ships of the class were built for the Baltic Fleet and 2 ships for the Baltic Sea Fleet. After completion of the Pamiat class, the Russian Navy issued requirements for 3 large protected cruisers to 3 separate companies. Although Askold was the fastest cruiser in the Russian fleet at the time of its commissioning, Bogatyr was selected for further development into a new class of ships. The Bogatyr-class cruisers normally displaced 6,340 long tons. The ships had an overall length of 134.9 meters, a beam of 16.4 meters, and a mean draft of about 6.8 meters. They were powered by 2 vertical triple expansion steam engines, each driving 1 shaft, which delivered a total of 19,500 indicated horsepower and gave a maximum speed of 23 knots. The engines were powered by 16 coal-fired Belleville boilers. The ship had a range of 2,100 nautical miles at a speed of 12 knots. The standard crew consisted of 573 officers and men. The ships were rearmed during World War I with 1455 caliber 130mm 5.1 inch B7 pattern 1913 guns and single mounts, 4 of which were mounted in casemates. The anti-aircraft armament consisted of 2 75mm 3-inch guns. The armor deck and casemates were 76mm or 3 inches thick, and the armor of the conning tower was 152mm thick. Basically, this ship here, or this class of ship, actually saw service in World War II as well, serving very briefly, and were basically, at that time, phased out due to their severely outdatedness. So yeah, pretty interesting little ship here of the Russian Navy, and our first one to kind of kick off the Russian/Soviet World War I, World War II era of BAFTA builds that we have here. So it'll be really exciting to get this one out for you guys and all that. It's a very unique ship, that's for sure. It's very interesting. A lot of guns for a cruiser of its size. So overall, pretty excited to again get this out for you. Before we go and move into the build, I want to go and give a special thanks to Patreon supporter Derek Frost Westbrook for making this tutorial possible. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel more you guys already do, feel free to check my Patreon page. Link is always in my video descriptions where you can pledge a small amount to the channel every month, and in doing so earn a vehicle request you're choosing. It really helps support the work I do on my channel and is really greatly appreciated, so definitely feel free to check it out if you're interested. With that though, let's go ahead and move into taking a look here at the ship and see exactly what we're going to be going ahead and building. So, starting off with, we have the front bow of the ship here, pretty standard kind of I wouldn't say really interwar, but World War I type of configuration, not very streamlined, kind of very big and bulky and all that. As we work our way back, we have a turret right here, so this one will be able to rotate basically about 180 degrees both directions here. And then we have the conning tower directly behind it. We have the first mast here. And on the deck here, we have all the smokestacks, or I should say funnels, the lifeboats all on the side here, and just all the various little kind of intakes there for air, as obviously this is a World War I ship. They didn't have proper ventilation, so what they would use is basically the air blown in these tubes to go down and go through areas of the ship. So that's kind of what we have going on there to supply fresh air to the crew. More lifeboats on the back here, a crane, and again we have the another turret on the back of the ship there. On the side here you can see we have a lot of casemated guns, or side guns, all the way along the side here. Very armed ship for its time, and could definitely pack a punch for being a simple cruiser and the size it is. So pretty cool little ship, should make a fun addition to any of your World War I type scenarios, and even possibly some very early World War II scenarios. With that though, let's go ahead and move into the tutorial by beginning with our first layer. Alright guys, so going ahead and moving into our first layer here, we go ahead and start with layer 1. Now if you're completely new to my BAFTA build tutorials, the way this tutorial is going to be structured is for about the first 3 layers of the ship. We're going to go and do half on, half off. What this means is we're building the center line of the ship, and then the right side, it'll be up to you guys in between layers to copy the right side over to the left side. Once we start getting above layer 3, we start to get into some of the complicated details on the deck and all that, so I feel it's best we move to basically doing each layer all together at that point forward. But the first 3 layers here are pretty straightforward and symmetrical on both sides, so it should be a pretty easy pretty easy for us to accomplish that. First thing first, though, we want to make sure that we build this ship correctly. So this is layer 1, so this part right here, this red portion, is the draft and will be present in the water. Now, to make sure that we have this positioned correctly, we want to make sure that we have this layer here, even with our water level. You can see here these yellow concrete blocks would be representative of our water level, and you can see our first block we're going to be placing here, a brick top slab, is basically level with that water. Very important if you do plan on building this in the water, as basically that can throw it all off if you have this too high or too low in the water. So just make sure that's good to go. And we going ahead and going back from this top slab, we're going to place down a brick upside down stair. And we're going to go then place down a row of red concrete. That's going to go back a total of 21 blocks, followed by a brick upside down stair, a brick top slab, and then 2 brick walls coming off that brick top slab. After that, going back up to the front here, we're going to place down 2 red stained glass panes next to these 2 glass blocks here. And we're going to then place down 2 brick walls here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 brick ups and downstairs, and then a brick top slab here on the very end. We're going to then place down our end rod, and then a birchwood slab coming off that end rod. After we have that all done, we're going to take what we did on the right side here, flip it over to the left side, and once you have both sides complete there, you'll have basically the ship good to go for layer number 1. Again, here's an overview of what it should look like from the top-down view. And with that, we're going to be going ahead and moving into our next layer, which will be layer number 2. Alright guys, moving into layer 2. For layer 2 to get started with, we're going to place down a stone stair on top of this brick top slab. Going back from the stone stair, we're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26 stone blocks back. I'm going to go double check my count here, make sure I didn't mess anything up, and it is going to be 26 blocks in total. Starting from the front, we're going to go and go to our 3rd stone block. Here, we're going to place down 2 of these light gray stainless panes to the side, and then 1, 2, 3 andesite walls, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 stone blocks back, 1, 2, 3 andesite walls, and then 1, 2, 3 light gray stainless panes. After we have that done, we're going to then take our ladders. We're going to place down a ladder here next to this block, followed by a polished black stone button. A ladder, polished black stone button, ladder, button, ladder, button, ladder, button, ladder, button, and ladder. So just an alternating pattern there all the way along the side of the ship. And then going up to the frontier on these 2 stone blocks, we're going to place down 2 polished black stone buttons as well on the bow there of the ship. Same thing will be done on both sides there, and once you have that all complete, that will complete layer 2. Looking at it from the top down view, this is what it should look like with that layer complete. Anyways, with that, let's go ahead and move into our next layer, layer number 3. Alright guys, going ahead and moving into our next layer, we moved into layer number 3. For layer 3 to go ahead and get started with, here, we're going to place down a yellow stained glass pane on top of the stair here. And then going back from there, we're going to place down 1, 2, and 3 stone blocks. We then want to take our oak wood planks, we're going to place down a long row of oak wood planks, going back a total of 22 blocks. And then a stone block on the end here, followed by an iron trap door. Now, if we go ahead and use our commands here, to go ahead and give ourselves a debug stick, and this is something that I know for sure is available on Java. I don't know about Bedrock or Pocket Edition, but we can go and use a debug stick to select it open to true, so it basically puts the trapdoor flush against the side there of that stone block. If you don't have access to a debug stick, using a dark oak wood trapdoor, birchwood, or whatever you prefer will work just fine for this case. But yeah, we just have that iron trapdoor on the back there. Nice little technique that we can use here there with our debug stick. Going back up to the front, we're going to place down a light gray stainless pane on the side of this stone block right here, the second one back, and then we're also going to place down polished black stone on the side of the first block. We then want to place down a stone brick slab back, and then to the side here of that stone brick slab, we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves an item frame. Place down an item frame, and in that item frame, we're going to place down a crossbow and have it rotated so it's facing downwards like so, for the anchor. We then want to place down a stone upside down stair, block like so, followed by a polished andesite block, and we're going to then place down an andesite wall, followed by a light gray stainless pane, another polished andesite full block, followed by a stone full block, and we want to go then grab ourselves an anvil. We're going to place down an anvil, stone full block, anvil, stone full block, anvil, stone full block, anvil, and then 1, 2, 3 stone full blocks back, a polished andesite block, a light gray stainless pane, 2 andesite walls, polished andesite block again, and another andesite wall here on the back, followed by an iron trapdoor on this corner here, and then we're going to take dark oak wood signs and wrap it around those iron trapdoors. At this point, we're going to go ahead and then grab a tripwire hook, place it down the side of this polished andesite block here on both sides on the stern of the ship, And then going up to the front here, we're also going to place down a tripwire hook on both sides of this first polished andesite block here, like that. We're going to go then place down an end rod coming off this polished andesite block here, followed by an end rod coming off each one of these anvils like that out to the sides there for your guns. We then want to go ahead and place down a end rod also on this polished andesite block here, 2 polished blackstone buttons toward the front, and then in this very section here, we're going to place down a lever, like so, followed by a lever on top of this stone block, on this one, and this one. So basically the spaces there between those end rods going toward the front. And once we have that all complete there, that should wrap up what we have there for layer number 3. And as you can see here, with a lot of detail, we basically have the whole of the ship completed. Again, here's the aerial view of what it should look like for the top-down view. And at this point, we're going to be going ahead and now moving into layer 4, which will basically involve us kind of working on our deck details and some of the superstructure and all that stuff. So with that, let's go ahead and move into layer number 4. Alright guys, moving into our next layer, we moved into layer number 4. For layer 4, to get started with here, we're going to place down an end rod on top of this stone block here, followed by an iron bar on top of it. We then want to go ahead and go back from that iron trapdoor with a... back from that the end rod there with an iron trapdoor. And we're going to go then grab ourselves a oakwood pressure plate, and we're going to place down an oakwood pressure plate directly after that. We then want to place down a wither skeleton skull on top of that middle block, followed by an end rod there to both sides of it like so. And then we're going to place down a redstone repeater with the notches spread apart on top of those 2 polished andesite blocks, like so. Then on this oakwood plank here, we're going to go ahead and place down a polished andesite block, and then a dark oakwood fence gate coming off the block facing toward the front and open toward the polished andesite block. We then want to go ahead and place down a andesite wall here, and then come off the sides of that wall, we're going to place down a skeleton skull. If we go ahead and use our give command, again, we can go and give ourselves a debug stick, and we can go ahead and actually change the properties of this wall. So we can change the facing of the wall so that it will not face toward this block. But make sure before you do that, we actually want to go ahead and just place down a stone block behind it. It may mess with your properties of the wall, so just make sure that if you do have the debug stick and you do this, make sure that you place a stone block and then edit the wall. But you want something like this, it just keeps the wall from connecting to that stair, and we just kind of get that gap there, which we should have between the turret here and the conning tower. It's not a big deal if you're on Pocket Edition or Bedrock, just go ahead and place the wall there, and it really isn't that big of a deal. We're going to then place down a polished andesite block here on top of those 2 blocks there to the sides. After that, we want to go and then place down a dark oak fence gate on the back here. And we would then place down a andesite wall here. After that, we're going to go and then place down a row of 1 and 2 smooth quartz top slabs, 1 and 2 over here as well. And we then want to go ahead and place down a stone brick wall, which will be in the center here, coming off that inside wall. And we're going to then place down an oakwood pressure plate to both sides. Now on top of these levers here, we're going to go ahead and place down end rods that go up like so. And then once we get to this point, we're going to go and grab a daylight detector. We're going to place down a daylight detector here in the center and turn that to the night mode. To the sides here, we're going to place down 2 quartz top slabs, so 1, 2. And same thing over here, 1 and 2. And in the middle here, we're going to place down a andesite wall. We want to go and then go up. Or actually, sorry, it's going to be a stone full block. So a stone full block here. And this wall actually right here, we're going to go and change to a stone full block as well. But anyways, at this point here, we're going to place down another stone brick wall right after that. And we're going to then grab ourselves a nether brick fence post. And we're going to place down a nether brick fence post here, a stone block, and a nether brick fence post again as well directly after that. On top of this lever here, we're going to place down an end rod on both sides, as well as this lever right here. And also, you probably guessed it, this lever here to both sides. We're going to go ahead and also grab our pressure plates, and on top of this stone block here, we can place down a pressure plate to both sides. Now, coming off this stone block, we're going to place down a quartz top slab to both sides, followed by a second top slab back from those. And after we get to this point, we're going to then place down a stone brick wall in the center here, and a nether brick fence post after the stone brick wall. To the sides, we're going to go ahead and grab some acacia wood stairs and slabs, and also a sign. We're going to place down an acacia wood stair with a sign on the side of it, and an acacia wood slab. Same thing over here, like so. And then after that, we're going to place down a andesite wall here in the center, a stone brick wall to both sides of that wall, and we then want to place down a stone block coming off this wall like this toward the back. We also want to go and then place down an end rod coming off those 2 stone brick walls, and then a light gray stained glass pane coming off this stone block here, and a polished andesite block right here. Again, if you're on Java, we can go ahead and do the feature here. We change the direction. So Actually did the wrong way there. So it's going to be the north for me on my world, but we can go ahead and change it the direction so it does not connect up to that block, again using that debug stick. After that, we then want to go ahead and place down a dark oak wood fence gate on the back of this polished andesite block, so for our rear turret. We're going to go ahead and then place down a redstone comparator on top of this block here, and then the end rod after that, and then to both sides of the end rod we're going to place down a white carpet, like so. And also on top of this end rod, just so we don't have to worry about it later, we're just going to place down an end rod on top of it, like so. And with that all complete there, that's going to wrap up what we have there for layer 4, probably our longest layer. Looking at it from up above, this is what it should look like from the top down view. And from the side here, you can start to see we're starting to get some of the shape going here for the Bogatyr. Anyways, that right there is going to complete layer number 4. With that, let's move on to layer number 5. Alright guys, moving into our next layer, we moved into layer 5. For layer 5, to go ahead and get started with here, we're going to go ahead and start off by going ahead and place down a redstone repeater on top of this polished andesite block, moving the notches apart like so. And we then want to place down a stone upside down stair here, followed by an item frame, and then we're going to place down a black bed in the item frame like so. Now you'll only be able to place this item frame in black bed if you're on Java. If you're on Bedrock or Pocket Edition, you're not going to be able to place down this item frame here in the bed in the same space as this repeater. If that's the case, I would just go ahead and pick between the two. I would personally prefer you put the repeater. I think that's going to look better. And then the item frame would just have to not be placed on the build again, but it's something that you guys have to figure out for yourself what you prefer between those if you're not on Java and able to do this. We're going to go then place down an andesite wall to both sides of this stone stair, and then we're going to place down a stone full block back from the block there. We're going to also take a dark oak wood fence gate, place it down to both sides, and open the fence gate up toward the outsides, like so. And we're going to place down a dark oak wood fence gate, dark oak wood sign, coming off the face there of those fence gates like so. We then want to place down an air fence gate here on top of this block, and we're going to go then place down a andesite wall on top of this one. And then taking our levers here, we're going to place down 2 levers here on top of those polished andesite blocks like that out to the outside here. Now at this point, this kind of comes into effect if you do have access to the debug stick. We're going to go ahead and place down a block that kind of comes off to the side here from our end rod, and we can go ahead and then place down a lever on the side of the block facing toward the end rod. We're going to go ahead and change the face of the lever so that it's facing toward the floor, and then we can go ahead and then change the direction of it so it faces like this to connect up to our levers like that for the lifeboats. And this is something here that we're going to basically do to these end rods here. And what it basically will create is a cool little kind of racking system here for our lifeboats. A little bit of a time-consuming process as we do have all these end rods here that we will be doing them to. But yeah, if you have access to the debug stick, definitely go ahead and do that. It's a nice technique. Takes a little bit of time, but it's just going to kind of flush out that design there for those lifeboat racks. Then on top of this stone brick wall, another dark oak wood fence gate here, out to the sides of these end rods. Again, if we're doing it, a lever, like so, on those blocks, and then use our debug stick here. We'll just go ahead and change the face of the floor, and obviously the direction, like so. And then after we have that done, we're going to then place down another andesite wall on top of this block here, and another dark oak wood fence gate on top of this stone brick wall here, followed by 2 levers to both sides there on top of those quartz blocks. And again, same technique here on top of this end rod, out to the sides, our levers, and let's go ahead and activate them here because it might actually speed up our process. And we'll just have these face toward the floor like that. So boom, like so. And then we're going to place down a skeleton skull now on top of this nether brick wall. So right here. And again, same technique out to the sides here, just like that. And our levers, go ahead and activate them like so, and use our debug stick on them like that so they're facing toward the inside. And then we're going to place down our inside wall here, followed by another stone brick or another skeleton skull on top of this nether brick wall, and then 1 and 2 levers, 1 and 2, and then again coming up to the sides here, some blocks, levers on the sides of those blocks, and then we're going to then activate them, and then we want to go ahead and do the face to the floor. So activate them, face to the floor, like that. At this point, we're going to then place down a dark oak wood fence gate here on top of the stone brick wall, open it toward the front, and another skeleton skull on top of this nether brick wall, like so. At this point here, we want to go and then place down an end rod here in the center, and then over to the right side here, we're going to place down a nether brick fence post. However, over here to the left side, we're going to place down a oak wood trapdoor. On the side of the oak wood trapdoor and the side of the narrow brick fence post, we're going to place down item frames, and we want to go ahead and place down snowballs in those item frames like that for the spotlights. Lastly, on the back here, we're going to place down a redstone comparator on top of this stone block, and a redstone repeater on top of this polished andesite block with it not just spread apart like so. With that all complete there, that's going to wrap up what we have there for layer 5. And with that, we're probably just going to move into our final layers here of the build. So with layer 5 out of the way, here's a nice overview of what it looks like from a top-down view. And obviously from the sides here, lots of good detail and stuff going on. But that right there will conclude layer 5. Let's move on to our last final layers. Alright guys, moving into our final layers here, we have layers 6 through 12. For these layers, to go ahead and get started with here, we want to go and place down an iron trapdoor on top of this stone brick stair here, followed by a birchwood trapdoor coming off the front of it like so. To the sides of that iron trapdoor, we're going to place down a skeleton skull. And we want to go and then place down a polished andesite block here, directly in the center, followed by an iron trapdoor, again to both sides. And we then want to go ahead and place down an item frame coming off this iron trapdoor like that. And then snowballs in those item frames, followed by birchwood signs here on the side of the iron trapdoors. And we then want to go and take our end rods and just go up 3. 1, 2, 3. Followed by a stone brick wall on top. And 1, 2. End rods up, and then an iron bar like that to make the very top there of our forward mass. Now at this point, we also want to go ahead and grab some end rods. We're going to place down end rod out to both sides here of right there next to that one, and also a end rod on both sides of this one. So right up there on the top there. So it's like that for the mast. After that, we're going to then grab a polished black stone wall. We're going to place it down on top of each one of these andesite walls. And then going back to our rear mast here, we're going to go and place down 1, 2, and 3 end rods up, followed by a stone brick wall. On both sides of this end rod right here, we're going to go ahead and place down a end rod, again to both sides. And then we just want to go ahead and go up with 1, 2 end rods, and then a iron bar there on the very top, like so. And same thing here right before the iron trap, or the end rod, or the iron bar there, we're going to place down an end rod to both sides like that. Now once we get to this point done, we do have the crane over here on the right side. To go ahead and add this crane on, pretty simple to do. We're going to go ahead and start off with placing down an end rod on top of this narrow brick fence post here. A skeleton skull on top of the end rod, like so. Then an end rod that comes off the skeleton skull, and then a skeleton skull coming off this end rod, like that. We then want to go ahead and grab ourselves a chain, and dropping down from this skeleton skull here, we are going to place down a chain like so. And also for a bit of extra added detail, again if you're on Java, we can go ahead and use our levers here and our debug stick. We're going to go ahead and select the facing of this lever, so it's facing toward the end rod, like that, just to kind of give a little bit of a support there to the crane. Just a nice little extra detail thing you can do. At this point here, we're going to go ahead and then grab ourselves some barrier blocks, invisible blocks, whatever you guys want to use here. And we're going to go ahead and start off by going ahead and going to this end rod here. We're going to place down a barrier block, followed by a second one down. We're going to then go back and down one, followed by a second one down, and then again back and down one right there on top of our redstone repeater. We're going to go then take stone buttons. We're going to place down a stone button on the side here, this side, and then this side and that side going up like that. Our barrier blocks just like that in kind of a diagonal line. Now on the other side here, we're going to do the same thing. So 2 barrier blocks here. We're going to go and go forward and down one, and then down a second one, and then we're just going to place down 1 barrier block on top of that skeleton skull there. Same thing, stone button here, stone button, stone button, stone button, and stone button. So looks something kind of like that there for that rear one. Going ahead and going to the iron bar on top, we're going to place down a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. End rods going forward, or sorry, barrier blocks going forward, and we're just going to place down a row of stone buttons along one side here of those barrier blocks like that. Then going to the front here, we're going to place down a barrier block coming off this end rod, and we're just going to go ahead and keep going down at a diagonal until we hit the front. So it's just going to be going at a diagonal, so just basically a giant staircase here, all the way up until we connect to this iron bar here. And on top of each one of these barrier blocks, we're going to place down a stone button. And that right there will create our cabling there for the front. And lastly, we're going to place down a barrier block coming off this end rod here. one down, coming off the stone brick wall. Then we're going to go back and down one, then down one, and then on top of the, or coming off this polished black stone wall here, we're going to place down a barrier block like that. Same things we've been doing. Stone button here on this side, this side, this side, and that side going up like that to go ahead and make our cabling. And with that all complete there, that is going to basically wrap up what we have there for the rigging for the Bogatyr. And with that, that's going to complete layers 6 through 12 and our tutorial here for the Bogatyr class of cruisers. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this tutorial and are able to put it to good use. If you do use this build, I do ask you guys give me proper credit for it. This will be a link from us on the build, link to my channel or this video if this does appear on social media sites. As long as you guys give me proper credit for it, you're free to use for projects you guys are working on. Overall, enjoy the build, have fun, and all that fun stuff. Again, a big special thanks to Patreon supporter Derek Frost Westbrook for making this tutorial possible. And as always, feel free to check out my Patreon page, link is always in my video descriptions. With that though, thank you guys again so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Gary 2x4, and I'll see you guys next time.